Hello and welcome to episode 35 of my podcast, The Pocket Stylist. I'm Lisa Talbot, and today we're going to talk about a topic that we haven't spoken about before. We've talked about loads of topics, whether it's about whether you're petite, we've talked about personal branding, we've talked about everything, but we have never covered this topic, so I'm really excited. We're going to talk about a tall lady, and I'm super excited because I'm joined by Lindsay Trahan. I can't get my words out today. I'm having one of those days, Lindsay. You know when the words just don't flow. But welcome to you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You're more than welcome. I don't know who I am most days of the week, so don't worry.
You know, I don't know about you, but some days the brain doesn't go with the mouth, and sometimes then we all talk so fast, don't we, that it all just rumbles into one. And I'm sure my kids sometimes say to me, Mum, what are you talking about? Because, you know, it's just easier to ramble, isn't it? So we met on Clubhouse, which is an amazing app that you and I have had great fun on. But when we spoke in a little bit more detail, because obviously I only ever hear your voice normally.
Yeah.
I don't actually, and I see your image on your headshot, and you and I have had a chat over Zoom before, but I have never seen a full-blown picture of you. It was only when you and I started chatting that you said, but yes, I'm taller. So how tall are you?
So I'm 5'11", but I'm right at the end of that scale. So I just scrape not being classed as 6 foot, but I'm definitely not just over 5'10". So I would say 5'11 and a half, 36-inch leg length, which I think is probably what is the more difficult side of my height, because although I wouldn't say I've got a short torso, I've got more of a normal, whatever you call normal these days, length torso when it comes to shopping, as opposed to my leg length. So yeah, that's before heels, of course, because I do like a high heel.
Yeah, and do you know what's really interesting though? Because there are so many brands out there now that do a longer leg length, but actually 36-inch can border on actually long, you know, taller than even that brand that does that, you know, specializes in the tall area, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, so I'm 35 now, and actually shopping as a tall lady is easier than it has ever been. But growing up, especially when I was a teenager, there really was only Topshop tall. That's before anywhere else. I think Next started doing what they call long
Yeah.
afterwards. But realistically, Topshop tall, that was about 32 to 34-inch legs. So it was fine if I was wearing those kind of ankle cut jeans, but anything that I wanted to cover a heel, so like a flare or just fall all the way down to a higher heel, it just wasn't long enough. And even then, to be quite honest, it did depend on the material. Some would fit much better than others, and we were really restricted because I don't live in a city. I live down in Dorset, and we don't get those huge chains stores. We just get sort of mini versions, and it would just be their top sellers that would kind of filter into those stores. So there was only actually one store near me that even had a tool section, and that was it was like probably about a 12th of the shop. It was so small. So I had a very, very, very narrow selection, and online shopping wasn't what it is now. In fact, I don't really think it was a thing. So yeah, it was a really difficult time when I was as a kid to try and dress fashionable and actually have trousers that weren't ankle swing.
Yeah. But you know what's really interesting? The same as with a petite lady, the tall brands just believe that they need to extend the length. But actually, it's never just about taking a 32 leg and making it 34. It works with regards to the proportions, again, from the waist to the crutch or the mid-rise and that type of thing, because it is never just about the length and add a bit more fabric, because that just doesn't work, does it?
No, 100%. And actually, I've always had, if I carry any weight, I always carry it in my legs. I'm actually very slim on the top half. I'm slim anyway, but like I was very petite on the top half. And as I grew older, I fell into weight training. So I've actually built my legs so they're very muscular. So I do actually now have a 36 to 37-inch glute and a very small waist, sort of 26, 27-inch waist. Now, most brands think that a sort of 6 foot 6 foot tall woman would be straight up, straight down without this kind of curve. Because ordinarily, the taller you are, normally you are leaner looking and there's less
Mhm.
shape. So half the time I can get them up to my thighs, can't get them over my bum. When I do eventually get them over my bum, they're gaping at the waist. So it's a real difficult game to play with trousers. And to be fair, it got to the stage where I just gave up wearing them. It just gave up searching for jeans. I think at one stage, because jeans have always been a nightmare until Levi did. I think they did maybe one long leg jean, and I think Diesel did as well back when Diesel jeans were a thing. But I had literally no pairs of jeans, so my friends would have like every jean in every color for all different occasions, and I was like, I've got two pairs.
So what did you do instead? What did you gravitate towards them? Because everyone, the jeans thing is, I think, across the board. Again,
Mm.
people struggle. But what did you, when you were younger then, what did you gravitate towards instead of a denim or a jean?
Probably very ill-fitting clothing, to be fair. I very much leggings. In
Yeah.
fact, it was just the type of very cotton. They were probably really see-through. Thinking back on it, really now, thank goodness cameras weren't as readily available as they are now. To be
Yeah.
honest, probably one of the reasons why you don't see photos of me when I was younger, because I was definitely not the height of fashion. I would actually quite often go in a skirt and tights, especially like during the winter. I am a big fan having long legs. I can wear a knee-high boot, and they actually half the time don't even come up to my knee, but they don't take up all of my legs. So I was a strong fan of that in the winter. And then when I go out, very much like long pencil skirts, because again, I have got that hourglass that does allow for those kind of um, looks. The one thing that I always struggled with actually was looking casual. I would feel I'd either look scruffy or too smart. Whereas a jean, you can normally dress it up or dress it down. And where I did have very limited amount of jeans, I did often feel like I was that overdressed kind of smart person that kind of gave this persona that I was either in the office or I was an absolute slob with ill-fitting pajamas, because that's another game of never being able to find pajama bottoms that fitted me leg lengthwise until very recently, until I think Fat Face released a long leg trouser,
Yeah.
and also Long Tall Sally. But Long Tall Sally have always been very, very big. A size 8 or size 10. They don't even do size 8 in a lot of their clothing. A size 10 is ginormous on me, but it will fit in the length. So if for slouching around the house, fine. But for going out, yeah, it's just been one of those where I've always had very, very limited clothing, and actually until recently. Now it seems to be a lot easier to shop as a taller person.
What kind of style personality have you got then? Do you like that kind of more casual, informal? Are you a bit more of the Audrey kind of Hepburn? Do you like things that look a bit quirky? Because obviously there's so many. I know we're kind of focusing on trousers, but there's so many different styles of like wider leg trousers, wider in the leg, like me and M, or people like Saint and Sophia, and people like that. Do you find that what your personality gravitates towards, there is a much bigger collection and selection than there used to be?
Um, yes, and
Yeah.
yes, and yes, actually, I think. So naturally in the day, I'm in a lot of gym wear because that is my industry, but also it's comfortable. I work from home and I do work out all the time. So gym wear, actually, I find pretty easy to get hold of now. Didn't used to, but I do find it a lot easier. But also because I work hard in the gym, I do want to make sure that when I'm going out, I'm wearing something that is quite tight fitting. So I wouldn't gravitate towards baggy clothing. I never have. And where I am really, really tall, I do want to accentuate the fact that I have shape on my glutes.
Yeah.
I'm flat chested, never had any issues with that, but I do want to make sure that I look like I'm not straight up and straight down. So typically I would go for a tight fitting legging or jegging, or a tight fitting dress, and normally backless, because I do like to take advantage of the fact that I don't have to wear bras. So, and I know a lot of women miss that luxury. So I've
Yeah.
always gone for something backless. I'm very broad shouldered, so I do try and avoid spaghetti straps. I tend to go for more of like a halter neck kind of cut, which shows off my shoulders. And also I would avoid anything that would be too closed off at the top, because it would make me look quite flat chested. So yeah, I guess I do have. I think my friends would probably be able to say in a shop, that's very Lindsay. So I clearly do have a type. I don't tend to go for patterned clothing. I feel quite mumsy in patterned clothing, and I don't tend to go for A-line kind of skirts. I tend to go for either very tight fitting, that silhouette type.
Like the bodycon, like the
Yeah,
Martha
bodycon,
Stewart
exactly.
dress.
But I do tend to go for more that calf length, so they go just below the knee, because I just find that that really accentuates the fact that I've got a long leg, but that I've also got a good trained bottom, so to speak.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's I guess actually I never really stop and think about it, but when I look at think about my wardrobe pieces, yeah, there's pretty obvious what sort of type I'm going to go for.
and do you know what's really interesting? You just said, well, I've never really thought about it. And actually, until somebody like me starts questioning you, people don't think about it. You know, they kind of think, well, I just get up in the morning, I get dressed. But until you start probing somebody, do they suddenly, and I always say, you know, your wardrobe tells this story. And people say,
Mhm.
really? How does it tell a story, Lisa? And I'm like, because it will say exactly what your style personality is. And for you, it's the more fitted, it's the more structured. You
Mhm.
know, when you're taller or you're more petite, you can definitely, we illusionize the areas we're not that happy about, and we can accentuate the areas that are our favorites. So for you, obviously, when we give you something more fitted, then absolutely you're going to show off your shape, you're going to get that hourglass shape.
Mhm.
If you then have, you know, like you said, backless, what's really interesting about backless is because what goes on the front, what people see, we can still focus on the back, but people tend to forget about their back.
Yeah.
They kind of go, well, I'm here, it's I'm the front, but actually from behind you can still create a shape that draws people's eye upwards, so you're creating that hourglass shape that you are. From a small busted point of view, what's really interesting, when you do close up the what we call the décolleté area here, you make the bust appear bigger because you've closed it all in.
Mhm.
So if you then added, I don't know, like a denim shirt, for example, with two pockets exactly where the busts are,
Mhm.
again, you've added width. So you create a larger looking bust than you have.
Mhm.
But then again, it's all about personality. But
Mhm.
sometimes then it sounds silly, but sometimes it's the bra that you wear, it's the style. Some ladies who are smaller busted can't wear a balconette bra because they've got nothing to put in it.
Mhm.
Others prefer a padded plunge because it pads it and gives them a bit of lift. And it's so interesting how, again, the right underwear plays a massive part in the structure of your shape. From a height perspective, if you have a bodycon dress, for example, or one coloured garment, or even it could be jeans and a top that's one colour, you create the continuity, you create the visual appearance from your shoulders to wherever that garment stops. So say, for example, you had a mid-calf dress,
Mhm.
you will create the longevity from your shoulders to where that dress ends. So in theory, it makes you appear shorter than you are. But it,
Really?
yeah, but it doesn't take away the fact your curves. It
Mhm.
just, people will, if you think about how people do that whole quick up and down glance of us, we go, right, face, shoulders, feet. So we've gone down. So wherever you stop that garment, allows the visual aspect of, oh, that's how tall that person is. So someone like me, I'm only 5 foot, everything for me that is longer can make me appear taller. It can flip it around as well. So you mentioned as well, didn't you, when we chatted the other day about a pair of jeans that you have found that is perfect, and I think it would be wonderful for the listeners and for anyone who's watching this on YouTube to share that, because you know, it's definitely, let's share what we can with everybody else if it helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as you get a little bit older, you do tend to stick to brands that you know. And look, we're all pushed for time. So half the time we're actually ordering online now, plus the pandemic has kind of excelled that, right? So a lot of the time I can't be bothered to order and try new things that I then might potentially have to send back. That's probably a very, very, very lazy way of looking at fashion. But sometimes it is just a case of also having things in your collection, which you know go with loads of different things and also fit and last really well. So for me, when I was training, or when I first started training, I think I already mentioned I struggled with jeans that really fitted over my glutes, but also that didn't flatten my bottom.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I train my bottom to flatten it. And then of course we all know those sort of jeans where you feel like you're right, all right standing up, but then you sit down, you feel like they're just digging into you, and you've got to undo a button when you've had half a meal and all the rest of it. So I was introduced to Freddy's jeans, and they're an Italian brand, and they're actually for girls that lift, and they're more of a jegging than they are a jean, but they're definitely not on that kind of cheap end of a jegging. And actually, whenever I wear them, and I've got them in every color, including the wet look,
Like a coated.
yeah, absolutely fantastic. They're like my absolute go-to. I wear them with trainers or I wear them with a high heel, and that they are my absolute staple. And whenever I go out, I always get asked, where are your jeans from? And I've introduced them to people that aren't tall, and they fit in them as well, because they're a stretch jegging.
Yeah.
They do kind of complement. Now I've got a short ankle one, but they do high waisted, they do low rise, which are very, very low waisted. So again, dependent on your hips. And I just think they're one of the most flattering outfits or pairs of clothing companies that I've ever come across. And they are there for girls that have got a bit of shape on their lower half, that want to accentuate that shape. Price point wise, they're between sort of like 90 and 120 pounds. So they're not the highest price jean, but
Yeah.
they're not the cheapest either, but they do last. And they go with absolutely everything. The colors are great as well. They do lots of different color leggings, and lots of different color blues, which I like, because obviously a pale jean I always find looks a bit more casual, and I
Yeah,
prefer
it
like,
does.
yeah, I prefer a darker jean for like a night out if I'm going to wear a jean at all. But just with a pair of high heels, you know, when you're in that kind of limbo of, am I going out or am I going out,
Out,
out? Like
out.
I, yeah. That, and also Lululemon do an Align pant, and they do them in extra long, I think they call it now. And that is, I think they do a 30. I think they did a 28-inch, and then they did a 32-inch. And again, like with a legging for the gym, you only want them to come up to your ankles anyway. You don't want them to go too long. And I find they are the most comfortable high-waisted workout legging. And I've got them in every color. They come in, I think they're about £90 as well. You do have to be careful with them because they're very, very fine materials. So just be careful if you've got animals around, because they can rip them. But considering I spend a good 70% of my life in gym leggings, they are the only ones, other than the odd pair of Sweaty Betty's. They're the only ones that I find that are so comfortable, whether I'm that time of the month feeling a bit bloated, whether it's leg day, I haven't got to worry about squatting and them coming down and showing off my bottom, that sort of thing. So for me, Lululemon and Freddie's jeans, if I couldn't shop anywhere else again, I think I would be satisfied that I've got enough attire for casual, smart,
But you
and
see, that's really interesting what you said, because obviously you gave the price breaks, right? But then you said, but what I wear all the time. And
Mhm,
what's really interesting, I always say to clients, if you've got X amount of budget,
mhm,
then let's spend the proportion of that budget on something you're going to wear, but you're going to keep for a long time, because then the cost per wear comes down. Now, your Freddies and your Lululemons, they owe you nothing, because your cost per wear if you think about it, say the jeans were, let's go 100, you've only got to wear them 10 times. Then that's £10 a wear. But the more you wear anything and the more you enjoy it, that's the biggest thing as well. If it makes you feel good, then it's definitely worth the investment. And
mhm.
yes, there are definitely certain things in the high street you can do the same too. But if you struggle to find a certain garment because you're petite, or you're tall, or you're a plus size, or you're much slimmer, then definitely invest in the piece that fits you perfectly. What's really interesting, I don't know if you've ever heard about it, but I used to do a lot of the personal shopping for Fenwick. And when we used to get the rep in for the denim, she used to say, do you realise you're not really supposed to wash your denim hardly at all, almost once a year? And we were all like, really? Once a year? But
What?
she said, if anything you do, for anybody, turn them inside out, wash them inside out, wash them as cold as you can, because invariably, unless you've been walking your dog through a mud field or whatever, our jeans and our denim doesn't really get that dirty. It just, obviously, we just wear it more and more and more. But again, don't ever put them in the tumble dryer, because if you've got any denim or any legging or anything that's got any form of elastane in it, the heat will break down the elasticity, and therefore over time you will get, I don't know if anyone's ever had it, that little bit looks like ruching just literally where the elastane starts to break down. So it's true. It's about looking after the things that we invest in, but definitely invest in the garments that make you feel brilliant. So I'm supposing then if you have an evening out, you just gravitate to whatever color potentially, unless you wear something else, of the leggings. So you've always got something in your wardrobe for an occasion if you need it.
Yeah, and as with those kind of things, I always call them like my backup outfits as well. Because don't get me wrong, I've got some lovely dresses in the wardrobe, but I think we all know if it is that time of the month, or you're just having one of those, I don't feel great today. Dresses can make you feel, I think they can make me feel quite vulnerable. And
Yeah.
so then I want to be not covered up because I might want to wear like a loose fitting top that still shows my arms or my back, but just feel that I haven't got something that's really tight fitting on my stomach, which might make me feel, I mean, nobody else would even notice, but it's how you feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know pretty much 99 out of 100 times my confidence is in my bum, and those jeans really accentuate that. And we've all got, some people it's their boobs, so they're like, oh, that's my golden ticket, I'm going to have a nice low cut top on. I haven't got that luxury, so I know that back and bum, like anything that I've got, if I'm not feeling 100%, then I'll just cover up kind of from the front and have like a backless top on, and then something that accentuates the glutes again. But that again shows, like you said earlier on, about people kind of looking from the back, and we forget about that. I actually get more compliments on my back from men than I ever thought was possible, and I'm really surprised, because a lot of people thought, or probably do think, that men don't compliment shoulders and back. I get that a lot. Maybe it's because it's that they're my main assets, but I do think we discount. I look at girls in backless dresses, I think, you look sexy.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if you were out and about, right, you were stood at a bar, your back would be to everybody else in the restaurant or in the bar or in the club or wherever. So it's so important that we use all of our assets, and we accentuate the areas that we absolutely love. So in your way, it is your glutes and your back that you think and you want to show off, which is absolutely right. Because when you do that, somebody could be standing behind you or coming in the door of wherever you are. That is going to be the first thing they notice.
Yeah.
And for you, that's what gives you the confidence. And that goes back to the whole thing of confidence and a positive mindset. And also the fact that, like you said about wearing a dress, if it is the time of the month, yes, to everybody else, you will still look sensational, but to you yourself, you might not feel as confident as you would do a week earlier or a week later. So it's about having a wardrobe then that works for you for every single occasion.
Yeah, and I think as well, we're busy people, right? And when we're younger, of course, if we're going out on a Saturday night, typically you'd spend the whole day shopping on the Saturday for that outfit. I don't have that luxury of time, nor do I have the financial wallet of wanting to be able to buy a new outfit every time I go out. So I want to make sure that if an opportunity arises, be it a business meeting, be it a date, be it a night out with friends, that I can just go, yeah, sure. And then I just run upstairs, put something on, quickly brush my hair, put a bit of makeup on, but it's minimal, but it still makes me feel comfortable and confident. And I think as we all get older, time is a luxury. So the sun's coming in, so you can see shining on me.
Isn't it lovely? Because it's November, isn't it? 1st of November today, and we've still got the sun coming in. For those of you, obviously, who can't see Lindsay, she's got the sun coming in one side. And for me, I've got my curtain shut because it is beaming. And, isn't it awful? We shouldn't be shutting that or moving away from that wonderful sunshine. But listen, it is what it is. And I think it is lovely to see it, because I think this morning it was about 8 degrees when I opened the back door and let the dog out. But I think it's supposed to be colder tonight. Just quickly, Lindsay, how do you do with regards to sleeves? Because obviously we've spoken about you being, 5'11" and on that kind of top scale. Mm-hmm. Do you struggle with sleeve lengths as well? Or are you proportionally just, longer in the leg?
I am longer in the leg, but I'm still not a short torso. And I do actually struggle more so with kind of blazers, especially if I want them fitted, or coats, especially with certain brands. So for example, like Barbour wax jackets and things, they're always too short. In fact, anything in the game kind of shooting side of things, I find it do come up quite short in the arm. It's also making sure that they're long enough in the body as well if I do wear sleeves. Now, actually, ordinarily, I don't wear sleeves that much. Once again, because I train, I do
Yeah,
actually quite like my arms and my shoulders, so I would gravitate towards a shorter sleeve, normally a complete cut off at the shoulder as opposed to like a crop here. But most of the time I don't struggle too much, because if anything they just come just a little bit above my watch, which is fine.
yeah,
Never find them too long. I will never ever find a sleeve too long, and I never get that luxury of really being able to pull over, when you're really cold, pull a sleeve
yeah,
over. But it's a good question actually, and majority of the time it's okay, especially in coats, because I do typically go a size up anyway, because I want them to go over a jumper or that sort of thing. But if I am looking at something that's tight fitted, because I am quite broad back, I do end up having to go bigger than if it was to come in at my waist. And if I do go for something very tight fitted, then yeah, the sleeves could be a slight problem. But it's never been as much of an issue as my leg length, because that really
yeah.
does take up most of my height.
But it's really interesting, isn't it? And the way, like we're talking about it now, everybody, like I said during the conversation, everybody says, well, I just get up in the morning and I get dressed.
Mm.
And what's really interesting, we've run the podcast now, week 35, we're recording today. But what's really interesting is, over the past 35 weeks, I have spoken to so many different guests who have all come at it with clothing and their wardrobe and the shopping with so many different queries. And it's really interesting because it's absolutely true that not one brand fits all,
No.
not one size fits all, not one high street retailer cuts exactly the same, not everybody suits the same colours. And it's such a wonderful topic that obviously I absolutely love, because it's my world. But I hear it, after 14 years of doing this job, that I have so many other clients who have so many different questions. And sometimes it's even about, the necks are too big on a garment, because if you're petite from the base of your neck to your shoulders, sometimes you don't want a neck that is, you want it to fit nicely, whether it's a Bardo neckline, whether it's a wide scoop, whether it's a round neck, whether it's a V-neck. And everybody is a different shape. And that's why, when ladies will say to me, can you take me shopping? But I don't think you'll find me anything. My job, honestly, the times I hear that, I say, are you looking forward to this? And they say, yeah, but you won't find me anything. And after the couple of hours or the 3 hours that we've spent, they say, well, I would never have found that. But that's why in all of us, whether you're a fitness expert, we're all experts in our own right, because I trawl the shops looking for each style, and my job is to show everybody where to buy it, how to wear it, and how it makes you feel good. And it's such a intriguing topic that when people say, oh, you know what, I've got loads of clothes but I don't wear anything, it's true, because it's not easy. It really isn't easy. And like you said, as we get older, we have less time. And also, I think we change how we look at how we dress and why we dress.
100%. And I also think, I can't speak for every female, but definitely for myself, like my mood changes as well as to what I feel comfortable in, and the season. So I'm very olive, but in the summer I'm very brown. So there are certain colors that I wouldn't wear in the winter. Sorry, that I wouldn't wear. Yeah, that I wouldn't wear in the winter, because although they don't look bad, they look better in the summer. So I can have I can feel inspired, go shopping and find all of these lovely things that look great on me June, July, August, and then come to like December, I'm like, oh no, actually that looked better when I was darker skin, or when we change our hair color. So we have these wardrobes, and then suddenly they don't quite work out as in how we're feeling at the time. If we're feeling bloated, our favorite outfit can suddenly be like the most restricting outfit in the world. So I think you kind of definitely, as I've grown up, I need to have a much more varied wardrobe for these are the days when I feel like this, and these are the days when I feel like that, and this is when my hair's more brown, and this is when my hair's more blonde. And it's crazy how many different kind of clothes that you need to feel or need to find to make sure that you've got something for how you're feeling on every occasion. And it's the same in the gym. Like when I buy gym stuff, I've got kit for when I'm having days where I'm like, I don't want to show anyone anything. I just want to go in and be kind of like a ninja and nobody see me. And then I've got days where I'm feeling super lean and I'm like, yeah, I want everyone to see my six pack, and I rock in. And it's I do think that you have to be mindful when you're shopping that it's not just especially if you do have a limited budget and you are going to spend a lot of money on something, that it's something that you are going to, like you mentioned earlier, wear a lot. And that's how I justify the price of some of the jeans and trousers that I wear, because I know that they're going to be more than just a one-off occasion. The amount of dresses that I've got in the wardrobe that have still got tags on because they look great at the time, and then the occasions never come up for me to wear. And actually, if I stop and think about all of those pairs of jeans and trousers that I turned down, I wish I'd bought the turned of jeans and trousers. So
How many dresses have you got?
I've got quite a lot. Back in the day when we used to go out, don't go out anymore. And
No.
actually, I used to live in a city, so it was, socially I was out a lot more. Now I'm in the countryside, so I tend to spend a lot more money on clothing that's a bit more suitable for like walking your dog. And funny enough,
A pair of Dubarry boots.
well, yes, I've got a pair of Harriet boots that actually they were nearly £500. And actually, if someone said to me, "You're going to spend that on a pair of," I mean, they are knee high, like riding boots,
Yeah.
but actually, I wear them when I go beating. I wear them all day, so 8-9 hours, and then I wear them easily 2 hours a day for a good 6 months of the year. Well, that paid off.
There you go. So there's your cost per wear again, and
Exactly.
it goes back to everything. And when you said Aria, I know the brand because my daughter is horsey. So
Right.
there is some of her show gear that I spent a lot of money on, but she wears a brand called Cavalleria Toscana, which literally they just go on and on and on. I can wash them, hang them up on literally a hanger, and they are dry within about 20 minutes.
Mhm.
They are probably the best brand, but they are extortionate. But you don't mind it if you're doing it week in, week out, because there's your cost per wear and all that type of thing. So yeah, it's really interesting. Lindsay, I think I could probably talk to you all day because listen, there's so many different topics and the way we can go with this, but I'm thrilled that thank you so much for spending the time talking to me today. You've dropped some nuggets for anybody else with your Freddies and your Lululemon, because do you know what, sometimes I'm a stylist and I go around, but sometimes I don't see everything. And I love it when, people say, Lisa, have you seen this? Or have you seen that? Because it just enriches everybody else that I come into contact with. So, it's absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much for taking the time of coming to chat to me. Before we leave though, tell everybody where they can find you, because you have got some amazing things in your pipeline. So tell everybody about that and tell people where they can find you.
Okay, well, if you want to have a little stalky stalk on my Instagram, I'm Lindsay Suzanne underscore, and Lindsay spelled Lynsey, Suzanne SUZANNE underscore. There you pretty much see a little bit about everything that I do, from fitness to going out to staying in. So you'll get to see all of my wardrobe in its full glory.
And your dog.
And the dog, yes. The dog also has a fashion wardrobe. So especially around Christmas, he does have lots of Christmas jumpers. So great time to listen and join in and watch that. And then if you are into social media and you have a business and you're looking to grow that business, then you can find me over on Clubhouse, giving you all different bits of business tips. I own a company called Clubhouse Like a Pro, and on Clubhouse, I think I'm Lindsay Trahan on Clubhouse, but yeah, I go by Lindsay Suzanne or Lindsay Trahan, dependent on what social media platform and who's stolen what handle first. But yeah, you'll find me over there doing more business kind of side of things, and you'll be able to hear me instead of see me. So don't really get to see much of anybody over on Clubhouse, but you can definitely hear what's going on in my world over there as well.
But do you know what's lovely is we still build the relationships through the audio. It's,
Yeah.
you said like we don't see you and you don't see me, but it's amazing how so many of us have all become friends because of that app. So great. So now people can find you, which is absolutely brilliant. And I do know I've loved watching your stories with your dog, because your long cliff walks and all that type of thing. He is just such a cutie. And before, we pressed record on this podcast, you showed me and he was sat at the table, on the other chair, wasn't it? Is he still there?
He is. Forrest, are you going to sit up, Forrest? Here I don't know if you can, sorry, you can see my dodgy,
Oh, there he is.
there
Oh
he
no.
is.
Oh, bless him.
Oh, Forrest, what are you doing? There he
Oh
is.
look.
He's having a little snooze,
Oh, I
bless
don't
him.
blame him. It's that time of the day, isn't it? Lindsay,
Yeah, I know. Spoiled.
yeah, well, listen, why not? Lindsay, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me. I hope everybody has enjoyed the podcast, picked up lots of hints and tips along the way, and we will see you all next week. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.